Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging headfirst into one of the most enigmatic and definitely talked about locations on Earth, Area 51.
Yeah, it's a name everyone knows.
For decades, its very name has conjured up these really vivid images, hasn't it?
Hmm.
Alien spacecraft, crashed saucers, top-secret government cover-ups. It's led to this huge worldwide fascination.
Absolutely. But what's the actual verifiable truth behind all those legends? That's what we're digging into.
Exactly. It's a truly fascinating case study, isn't it? It really demonstrates how these information vacuums, which are often, a necessary byproduct of national security,
Right, you need secrecy for certain things.
but they can inadvertently create the perfect breeding ground for speculative narratives to just flourish.
Yeah, they take on a life of their own. So today, our goal is to meticulously peel back the many, many layers of myth that have built up around Area 51 over the years.
To reveal the verifiable history, the facts, and the very real strategic purpose of this highly classified facility.
That's the plan.
That's right. So our mission for you, our listener, is to arm you with a shortcut, basically, to being genuinely well-informed about Area 51. We'll be navigating through its complex, almost labyrinthine history,
It's definitely got twists and turns.
meticulously distinguishing fact from the abundant fiction, and uncovering the surprising, often incredible connections between cutting-edge aviation and the birth of this global phenomenon that has captivated millions.
And we've got good sources for this. We've pulled together a substantial stack of material, including recently declassified official documents, things from the CIA, comprehensive historical reports.
Yeah, we've done the homework to try and get to the bottom of everything there is to know about Area 51, so let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
Okay, Area 51, just hearing the name, it immediately conjures up images of the fantastical, right? Aliens, secrets. Yet, officially, it's known by much more mundane, almost bureaucratic designations like Homey Airport or Groom Lake.
Doesn't sound quite as exciting, does it?
Not really. But to the vast majority of the world, it holds this powerful dual identity. On one hand, it's a vital, top-tier national security asset, essential for the United States defense.
Critical work happens there, historically and presumably today.
But on the other hand, it has ironically become the global emblem for extraterrestrial conspiracy theories. It's kind of wild.
It really is, and it's nestled deep within the vast, desolate Nevada test and training range. We're talking about 83 miles north-northwest of the glittering lights of Las Vegas. Quite a contrast.
A stark contrast indeed between the neon glow and its shadowy nature.
What's truly fascinating here, if we look at the historical progression, is how this dual identity didn't just appear out of nowhere. It evolved directly from the profound secrecy that enveloped Area 51 right from its establishment back in 1955.
Right from the start.
Yeah, this intense operational secrecy, while absolutely crucial for national security during the height of the Cold War, it inadvertently created what our declassified sources frequently refer to as a significant information vacuum in the public sphere.
An information vacuum. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Think of it like a narrative black hole. In the complete absence of any official, verifiable information, the public imagination, which, remember, was already primed by the post-war flying saucer panic that had swept the nation since 1947.
Right, Roswell and all that.
Exactly. That imagination rushed in to fill that void. And what filled it? Well, extraterrestrial narratives, particularly those involving crashed saucers and hidden alien technology, they became the most compelling, almost irresistible explanations for what might be going on out there in the desert.
And the government's initial and incredibly prolonged denial of the base's very existence didn't just pour fuel on that fire. It practically doused it in jet fuel, didn't it? It intensified the situation almost unimaginably.
It absolutely did. It wasn't until June 25, 2013, think about that, nearly 60 years after its establishment, that the CIA officially acknowledged Area 51's existence.
60 years of official silence or denial.
Wow. This landmark declassification, which came about directly because of a 2005 Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, request, was absolutely pivotal.
A game changer.
For the first time, detailed historical insights into its purpose and development were made public, primarily through a declassified CIA history of the U-2 spy plane program.
The U-2 connection. We'll definitely get into that.
Yeah. And it really underscores a fundamental, almost paradoxical challenge in managing highly classified information. While secrecy is undeniably essential for certain critical operations.
You can't just broadcast your spy plane tech.
Exactly. But a complete lack of transparency, especially when it lasts for decades, can lead to these uncontrolled, deeply entrenched narratives that are incredibly difficult, sometimes even impossible to correct, even with later comprehensive official disclosures.
It's a testament to the power of a story, isn't it?
Ugh,
Even a speculative one, when the facts are kept hidden for so long.
it really is. Now, the choice of location for Area 51 was, well, it was a masterstroke of strategic planning, almost poetic in its isolation.
Where exactly is it again?
It's situated in an exceptionally remote and largely uninhabited part of the Mojave Desert. The specific site, centered around the Groom Lake dry lake bed, was very carefully selected back in April 1955.
And who picked it?
It was a collaborative decision-making process involving the CIA, the U.S. Air Force, and the renowned defense contractor Lockheed Martin, specifically their Skunk Works division.
Ah, Skunk Works. Legends of secret projects.
Exactly. And what made Groom Lake so uniquely appealing? Well, its naturally smooth, incredibly flat surface was described in official documents as an ideal strip for testing aircraft. It required minimal preparation for landings and takeoffs.
So like a massive natural runway just sitting there.
Pretty much. Imagine a perfectly smooth, natural concrete runway stretching for miles, formed by millennia of dried lake bed sediment. It was geologically perfect, a ready-made airbase hiding in plain sight in a way.
So nature provided the perfect runway for some of the most advanced technology humanity could conjure. That's pretty wild to think about.
It is. And the surrounding mountainous terrain, plus its adjacency to the sprawling Nevada test site, offered inherent geographical protection and unparalleled seclusion from any unauthorized access. You couldn't just wander in.
Makes sense. So how did they formally get the land?
To secure this ideal spot, the CIA formally requested the Atomic Energy Commission, the AEC, to acquire the land. It was then officially designated Area 51 on AEC maps and formally incorporated into the broader Nevada test site.
So that's where the name comes from, the map designation.
It's the leading theory, yeah. It further embedded its identity within a highly restricted zone.
Okay, so that brings us squarely to its foundational purpose, which, as you said, often gets overshadowed by all the alien stuff.
Right. The establishment of the Groom Lake Test Facility was specifically and primarily for Project Aquatone.
Aquatone, what was that?
That was the top-secret initiative focused on the rapid development and flight testing of the Lockheed U-2 strategic reconnaissance aircraft, the spy plane.
The U-2.
Richard M. Bissell Jr., who was the visionary project director at the CIA, understood that the unprecedented level of secrecy required for the U-2 program absolutely necessitated a dedicated, isolated testing site.
Why not just use an existing airbase?
Well, existing military facilities simply weren't capable of providing the absolute operational security needed to conceal the U-2's existence and its, frankly, revolutionary capabilities from Soviet intelligence. It had to be completely secret.
Gotcha. And today, what's its official purpose now?
Today, the U.S. Air Force describes Area 51 as an open training range, supporting the ongoing development and testing of experimental aircraft and advanced weapons systems. So essentially, its original mission continues, just with, modern advancements and different projects.
Still testing cutting-edge stuff.
Presumably, yes.
And when we talk about reasons for extreme secrecy back then, we truly mean extreme. A level of classification that's almost unfathomable to the public today.
Absolutely. The primary overriding driver for Area 51's unparalleled secrecy was the intense geopolitical climate of the Cold War. The United States desperately needed covert means to gather intelligence on the Soviet Union.
What were they looking for specifically?
Especially their nuclear capabilities and strategic military deployments. This imperative led directly to the development of revolutionary high-altitude spy planes like the U-2, which demanded absolute operational security to avoid detection by adversaries, both militarily and politically. You couldn't let the Soviets know you could fly over them with impunity.
Makes sense. So everything was top secret.
Every single piece of research, every activity conducted within Area 51 was classified as top secret sensitive compartmented information, or TSSCI.
PSSCI, what does that mean exactly?
For context, this is the highest level of national security classification. It denotes information so critical that its unauthorized disclosure could cause exceptionally grave damage to national security. It's serious stuff.
Exceptionally grave damage.
Yeah. Our sources describe this pervasive secrecy as being baked into the dusty earth from its absolute inception in 1955. From day one, robust and formidable security measures were implemented.
Like what kind of measures?
A strictly enforced no-fly zone, restricted and often unmarked access roads, sophisticated surveillance technology including long-range radar, advanced cameras, and even buried motion sensors that could detect movement over vast distances.
Buried sensors, wow.
Yeah, designed to pick up anything moving out there. And, perhaps most chillingly, a constant presence of armed military personnel, often referred to as camo dudes, by locals authorized to use deadly force against any trespassers.
Deadly force authorized. That really drives home the point about the seriousness of the operations within, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. This wasn't just about keeping people out for privacy. It was about absolute, uncompromised national security.
And for several decades, the U.S. government maintained a strict policy of complete denial regarding Area 51's existence.
They just pretended it wasn't there.
Pretty much. The Air Force only offered a sort of terse acknowledgement in 1998, and even then, their statements were incredibly vague, revealing minimal details.
Right, just confirming a location, basically.
So that official acknowledgement in 2013, when the CIA released those declassified documents, particularly its comprehensive history of the U-2 spy plane program, that was a monumental game changer.
It really was. It provided the first detailed, verified insights into Area 51's history, its true purpose, and its crucial role in Cold War intelligence gathering.
It was a long-awaited moment, wasn't it? Yet it also illustrated how deeply embedded the myths had become in the public consciousness because of that prolonged silence.
Exactly. The silence allowed the myths to grow unchallenged for so long.
Okay, let's talk about the name itself, Area 51. Where did that actually come from?
Well, regarding the name Area 51 itself, its precise origin is still somewhat shrouded in ambiguity, which only adds to its mystique, of course. It's widely believed to have originated from an Atomic Energy Commission, or AEC, numbering grid used for the Nevada test site. Even though Area 51 wasn't formally part of that system, it was geographically adjacent to a section designated Area 15.
So maybe just the next available block number.
Possibly. Or another intriguing theory suggests the number 51 was chosen specifically because it was an unused number within the AEC's schema, so adding an intentional layer of obscurity, making it harder to track or identify.
Ah, so a clever bit of intentional misdirection or obfuscation, perhaps, playing on public confusion to hide its true nature.
Could be. According to the CIA, the official and correct names for the facility are Homey Airport, which uses the call signs XTA or KXTA, and Groom Lake.
Homey Airport. Doesn't exactly scream top secret, does it?
Not really. But over time, it naturally picked up several unofficial yet widely known nicknames. There was Dreamland, which was also the approach control call sign for the surrounding highly restricted airspace.
Dreamland. Okay, that sounds a bit more mysterious.
And perhaps most famously, Paradise Ranch, later affectionately, or perhaps ironically, shortened to just the ranch.
Paradise Ranch, in the middle of the Nevada desert.
Exactly. That last one was famously coined by Lockheed's U-2 designer Clarence Kelly Johnson as a bit of wry humor. It was apparently an attempt to make the incredibly remote, isolated, and frankly desolate site sound more appealing to the highly skilled workers they were trying to recruit.
Huh. A bit of marketing spin for a top secret base. A paradise for secret aircraft, perhaps.
Perhaps. And the vast special use airspace around the field is officially designated as Restricted Area 4808 North, or R4808N. That's a permanent fixture on aviation charts that warns all civilian pilots to stay well clear.
R4808,
Yeah.
Got it.
So this multiplicity of designations, some official, some informal, some deliberately ambiguous, coupled with the initial outright denial of its very existence, suggests a very deliberate strategy of, well, strategic ambiguity.
Makes sense. Keep everyone guessing.
By employing various names, and by initially dismissing the most popular one, Area 51, the government could effectively control the public narrative to some extent and make it significantly harder for any external parties, whether foreign intelligence agencies or just the curious public, to pinpoint or accurately refer to the facility.
This deliberate creation of confusing nomenclature certainly contributed immensely to its mystique, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But crucially, it also made it exponentially easier for speculative narratives, especially those involving the fantastical, like aliens, to take deep root.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's talk about the beating heart of Area 51's true history, the Black Projects. This is where Area 51 truly shines as aviation's ultimate, most secret moving ground.
Yeah, this is the core of its real mission.
It wasn't just a military base. It served as the pivotal, clandestine testing site for numerous groundbreaking aviation projects that fundamentally advanced U.S. military capabilities during the intense geopolitical pressures of the Cold War and well beyond.
These deeply classified initiatives were often simply referred to as black projects because their very existence, their funding, and all the details were deliberately obscured from public knowledge and even from most of Congress, kept under wraps.
Total secrecy. And the first big one was the U-2, right? Project Aquatone.
And the U-2 Dragon Lady under Project Aquatone is indeed where this incredible story began. In the early 1950s, as the Cold War escalated and the Soviet Union became an increasingly opaque and formidable adversary, the CIA recognized an urgent need for a strategic reconnaissance aircraft.
What made it so special?
This wasn't just any aircraft. It needed to be capable of reaching unprecedented altitudes, specifically 70,000 feet far beyond the reach of existing Soviet radar and conventional anti-aircraft missiles at the time.
70,000 feet? That's incredibly high, especially back then.
Phenomenally high. This single-engine marvel, characterized by its distinctive, almost glider-like wings for efficiency at altitude, was designed by the legendary Clarence Kelly Johnson, the visionary head of Lockheed Martin Skunk Works.
Skunk Works, a name that in itself evokes innovation and mystery.
Definitely. Lockheed engineers, under intense pressure, rapidly designed and built the U-2 in an astonishing 8 months at its Burbank headquarters. Then they disassembled it and shipped it in secret to Area 51 for rigorous testing.
They built it that fast. 8 months.
Incredible, right? In fact, its first somewhat accidental test flight over Groom Lake occurred on August 1st, 1955, when the aircraft briefly lifted off the ground during a high-speed taxi test. Whoops.
A bit ahead of schedule. But the U-2's incredibly high-altitude operations presented some truly unique and unprecedented engineering challenges, didn't they?
They certainly did, and the ingenuity involved was remarkable. For example, the very fuel itself became a problem.
Also,
Lockheed engineers had to collaborate extensively with Shell Oil Company to develop a special, highly stable, low-volatility kerosene fuel. Why? Well, at 70,000 feet, where temperatures plummet and atmospheric pressure is almost non-existent, conventional fuels would literally vaporize or freeze, rendering the aircraft inoperable.
okay, that makes sense. So what was the solution?
What's truly amazing is that they found a solution by adapting petroleum byproducts typically found in common household items like Shell's Flit Fly and bug spray. They created a fuel, codenamed LF-1A, that could withstand those extreme conditions.
Fly spray components and spy plane fuel. That's wild.
It sounds it. Furthermore, the technology behind the full pressure suits developed to keep U-2 pilots alive and functional in the near vacuum of such high altitudes proved instrumental. It later laid a critical foundation for the pressurized suits used in the manned space program.
So Area 51 literally helped pave the way for human spaceflight in a way, through those early suit developments.
In a very real sense, yes. Less than a year after its initial test flight, the U-2 conducted its first operational mission over the USSR, quickly becoming the most crucial source of intelligence on Soviet military capabilities. It provided invaluable insight during the Cuban Missile Crisis, for instance.
But this groundbreaking program came with a significant human cost.
Sadly, yes. 3 CIA pilots were tragically killed during U-2 test flights in 1956 alone, with 2 of these devastating incidents occurring right there at Area 51. The risks taken by those pilots were immense.
A heavy price for that intelligence edge.
And then came the major international incident in May 1960, a moment that forever etched the U-2 into the annals of Cold War history.
The Gary Powers incident.
Exactly. A U-2, piloted by Francis Gary Powers, was shot down over Sverdlovsk, Russia, deep within Soviet airspace. Powers was captured, and the incident forced the United States, after some initial clumsy denials, to publicly admit its clandestine spying activities.
Huge embarrassment for the U.S.
Deeply embarrassing for the Eisenhower administration, yes. It prompted President Eisenhower to halt U-2 flights over the Soviet Union, though they continued elsewhere. The incident highlighted the immense stakes involved in these secret reconnaissance missions and the potential diplomatic fallout when they went awry.
Okay, so after the U-2, what came next out of Area 51?
Following the U-2 program, Project Oxcart was launched in 1957. This was an even more ambitious undertaking, aiming to develop even faster and higher-flying reconnaissance aircraft, pushing the envelope way beyond what the U-2 could achieve.
Faster and higher than 70,000 feet.
Oh yes, much faster. This project ultimately led to the creation of 2 of the most iconic and visually striking aircraft in U.S. aviation history. The single-seat A-12, officially known as the Archangel 12.
Archangel. Cool name.
And its slightly larger two-seat successor, the SR-71 Blackbird.
The Blackbird. Everyone knows that one. Looks like something out of science fiction.
It really does. The first A-12 arrived at Area 51 in February 1962, transported in disassembled form to maintain absolute secrecy. It arrived in big crates via truck.
Snuck it in.
Pretty much. Its unique design, featuring a wide, disc-like fuselage, was specifically engineered to hold vast quantities of specialized JP-7 fuel required for its incredible speed and endurance. This made it look visually distinct from any conventional aircraft.
Disc-like. I can see where some UFO reports might come from later.
Precisely. The A-12's official first flight over Area 51 took place in April 1962. Its successor, the two-seat SR-71 Blackbird, which is often mistaken for the A-12 by the public, was also extensively tested there, benefiting from the A-12's pioneering work.
And the SR-71 Blackbird truly pushed the very boundaries of speed and altitude, didn't it? Becoming a legend in its own right.
Absolutely legendary. On July 28, 1976, an SR-71 achieved a staggering record speed of Mach 3.3.
Mach 3.3, how fast is that?
That translates to an incredible 2,193 miles per hour, a speed that's literally faster than a speeding rifle bullet.
Faster than a bullet. That's just hard to comprehend.
The SR-71 remains the world's fastest air-breathing manned aircraft to date, an unparalleled feat of engineering that was decades ahead of its time.
What was the operational history?
The A-12 became fully operational in 1965, conducting critical reconnaissance missions over hotspots like Vietnam and North Korea before being officially retired in 1968 in favor of the more versatile SR-71.
And the Blackbird flew for a long time.
The SR-71 Blackbird itself continued to serve with distinction for over 3 decades, finally retiring in 1990 after proving invaluable in intelligence gathering during countless global crises. An amazing service life.
Incredible machines.
Yeah.
What else was cooking at Area 51? Speed and altitude were covered, but what about invisibility, stealth?
Ah, yes. Beyond pure speed and altitude, Area 51 also played an absolutely pivotal role in the development of stealth technology. This was a revolutionary advancement that would come to define modern combat jets like the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning II.
So the roots of today's stealth fighters are at Area 51.
Very much so. In 1977, the U.S. Air Force Special Projects Office initiated Project Have Blue. This was a top-secret program focused on testing a stealth demonstrator aircraft right there at Area 51. The goal was simple, but incredibly hard. Develop an aircraft that could essentially disappear from enemy radar.
Have Blue. Okay, and that led to...
This groundbreaking research ultimately led to the F-117 Nighthawk, the world's first operational stealth aircraft.
The Nighthawk. The sort of triangular, faceted one.
That's the one. It was characterized by its radical, almost alien, faceted, diamond-like surface. This unique design wasn't just for looks. It was engineered specifically to reflect and disrupt radar beams, effectively making the aircraft a ghost on enemy screens.
And our sources frequently note that its highly unusual angular appearance could easily be mistaken for the boomerang-shaped UFOs of popular imagination.
Exactly. Again, you see the connection. The F-117 made its first deeply secret flight over Area 51 in June 1981.
And it stayed secret for a long time.
It remained a highly classified black project for an astounding 7 years. Its existence was denied even as it secretly conducted test flights out of Tonopah Test Range, which is nearby. It was only publicly unveiled in late 1988.
7 years of flying a secret plane. Wow. Did it work in combat?
Oh, it proved its effectiveness and revolutionary capabilities. It famously bombed high-value targets in Baghdad during Operation Desert Storm in early 1991 with surgical precision, demonstrating the game-changing power of stealth.
I remember seeing those grainy videos.
Right. It continued to serve with distinction in conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq before its final retirement in 2008, though some are apparently still flying in research roles. Its stealth capabilities drastically changed the landscape of modern aerial warfare, and its origins were firmly rooted in the secretive tests conducted at Area 51.
Okay, so they developed amazing U.S. tech there. Did they ever look at foreign tech, like captured enemy planes?
Absolutely. Beyond developing its own cutting-edge aircraft, Area 51 was also utilized for another critical and equally clandestine task, the meticulous study and reverse engineering of foreign warplanes that had been covertly acquired by the U.S. government.
How'd they get those?
Various ways: defections, clandestine operations. A notable and highly successful instance of this was the acquisition of a Soviet MiG-21 jet fighter, codenamed Fishbed E, in the late 1960s.
A MiG-21? How'd they get that?
An Iraqi pilot defected to Israel with the aircraft, and Israel generously shared it with the U.S. It was an intelligence gold mine, and Area 51 was the perfect, secure location to exploit it.
So what do they do with it?
Under Project Half Donut, gotta love these names.
Half Donut, seriously.
Under Half Donut, Area 51 personnel meticulously inspected, disassembled, and then extensively tested the Mach 2-capable MiG-21. They wanted to understand its performance characteristics, its vulnerabilities, its capabilities.
Compare it to U.S. fighters.
Exactly. Their objective was to compare it against existing U.S. fighter planes like the F-4 Phantom and develop effective countermeasures and tactics. Over just 40 days in 1968, U.S. test pilots bravely conducted an incredible 102 test flights, logging 77 hours of flying time, pushing the MiG-21 to its absolute limits.
Risky flying, I bet. What did they learn?
These tests yielded crucial intelligence. While the MiG was found to be generally slower and less capable in some areas than American fighters like the F-4, it possessed a significantly tighter turning radius at lower speeds.
Ah, so it could outturn them in a close-in dogfight.
Potentially, yes. This critical insight led to immediate warnings for U.S. pilots engaged in Vietnam to specifically avoid prolonged maneuvering engagements or close-in dogfighting with MiGs if possible. It fundamentally altered aerial combat tactics.
Wow, so flying a captured MiG at Area 51 directly helped U.S. pilots in Vietnam.
It directly contributed to the U.S. Air Force's improved kill-loss ratio against Soviet-made MiGs in Vietnam, effectively saving lives and helping secure air superiority. The lessons learned were so profound that they became a key factor in the establishment of the renowned U.S. Navy Fighter Weapons School,
Top Gun.
famously known as Top Gun, in 1969. And this vital work didn't stop there. Area 51 continued to be the proving ground for later acquired Soviet aircraft like MiG-23s, MiG-29s, and Su-27s, ensuring U.S. pilots always had the latest intelligence on their adversaries. That program, under various names like Constant Peg, continued for years.
Incredible. Any other weird planes tested there?
Area 51 also served as the proving ground for numerous other advanced experimental aircraft and systems. These included things like the supersonic reconnaissance drone D-21, which was designed to be launched from a modified B-52 bomber, or even an SR-71 variant.
A drone launched from a Blackbird.
Yeah, pretty cutting edge. And the Mach 3 plus YF-12 interceptor, which was a direct precursor to the SR-71 Blackbird, itself a speed demon. Each of these projects pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in aviation.
And I read about one called the Bird of Prey.
Ah, yes, the Boeing YF-118G Bird of Prey. That was later, in the 1990s. A top-secret research and development aircraft quietly developed under Air Force management right there at Area 51.
What was special about it?
This truly unique Hawk-like aircraft, famously named partly for its eerie resemblance to a Star Trek Klingon battlecruiser.
Klingon battlecruiser, okay.
It was designed to test various innovative aircraft technologies and methods for reducing its visibility to both the naked eye and, crucially, radar detection. It explored concepts later used in planes like the F-22 and F-35.
So more stealth research.
Exactly. It completed 38 flights between 1996 and 1999, gathering invaluable data on stealth and visual signature reduction before its existence was finally declassified several years later, revealing yet another revolutionary project hidden within the desert.
Okay, this is crucial. Let's explicitly connect these black projects directly to the proliferation of UFO sightings. It seems obvious now, but maybe it wasn't at the time.
It's incredibly important to make that connection. Think about it. The U-2, the A-12, the SR-71, and the F-117 were all truly revolutionary aircraft. They were pushing the absolute limits of speed, altitude, and stealth in ways the public simply couldn't comprehend.
Like the U-2 at 70,000 feet.
Right. The U-2 flew at over 60,000 feet when even commercial airliners operated at less than half that altitude, around maybe 20,000 feet, sometimes 30,000 later on. And the F-117 had that radical, faceted design, unlike any conventional aircraft the public had ever seen.
And the key point is,
the crucial defining point here is that the public, and even many commercial and military pilots who weren't in the know, were entirely unaware of these highly classified programs and the existence of these cutting-edge aircraft.
so when trained observers like commercial airline pilots or maybe even radar operators saw these highly unusual aircraft operating at extreme, unheard-of altitudes or exhibiting unconventional shapes, they lacked any legitimate frame of reference to identify them.
Exactly. They were truly unidentified to the observers. They couldn't logically place what they were seeing.
This lack of context, combined with the lingering national flying saucer panic of 1947 that had already primed the public for extraterrestrial explanations.
Meant that these advanced yet entirely terrestrial aircraft were easily and often misidentified as unidentified flying objects, or UFOs.
And the government couldn't just say, oh, that was our top secret spy plane.
Absolutely not. Bound by paramount national security interests, the government simply could not publicly acknowledge the true nature of these sightings without compromising top-secret programs vital to Cold War intelligence and technological superiority. It was Catch-22.
This really demonstrates a profound irony, doesn't it? How cutting-edge defense innovations, when necessarily shrouded in intense secrecy, can inadvertently create these pervasive public phenomena.
Exactly. Phenomena that are then immediately interpreted through existing cultural lenses of the unknown or the extraterrestrial. It turns classified terrestrial technology into supposed alien encounters in the public mind.
The secrecy, intended to protect national security, instead fueled the very legends it sought to avoid. Wild.
It's a fascinating dynamic.
And this brings us right into the birth of the Area 51 legend itself, the very thing that fueled those enduring alien conspiracy theories.
Yeah, how did it become ground zero for aliens?
Well, the profound and almost absolute secrecy surrounding Area 51's operations, coupled with the highly experimental and often visually unconventional nature of the black aircraft tested there, served as the ideal, fertile ground for the propagation of widespread rumors regarding UFOs and alien contact.
And we know this isn't just speculation, right? The government itself confirmed this link.
That's right. Both the CIA and the Air Force have officially confirmed, in declassified documents released over the years, that the test flights of high-altitude, high-speed military aircraft, such as the U-2, the A-12, and the SR-71, directly accounted for a very significant number of the UFO sightings reported. Not just near Nevada, but across the United States during the mid to late 20th century.
Can you give an example?
Sure. In the mid-1950s, a U-2 flying at altitudes exceeding 60,000 feet would have appeared, from the ground or from a lower-flying aircraft, as a tiny reflective silver disk, seemingly motionless against the deep blue sky. Completely unlike anything a commercial airline pilot, typically operating at much lower altitudes of maybe 10,000 to 20,000 feet back then, had ever encountered.
From that vantage point, it would have appeared completely alien and inexplicable. I can see that.
Air Force officials were well aware that the majority of these unexplained sightings were, in fact, directly attributable to U-2 tests. However, due to the absolutely critical and highly classified nature of these programs, they were strictly prohibited from revealing these details to the public.
So what did they say instead?
This led to a standard, unrevealing response from the Air Force. That such sightings were simply natural phenomena, or maybe high-altitude weather research. It was a deliberate, if ultimately frustrating for the public, policy of non-disclosure.
So vague explanations like natural phenomena became the boilerplate response, which, ironically, only deepened public suspicion and fueled the very rumors they were trying to contain. It sounds counterproductive in hindsight.
It does seem that way. Even Project Blue Book, the Air Force's official public inquiry into UFOs, internally categorized a significant number of these U-2 flights as legitimate UFO reports because the investigators often didn't have the clearance to know about the U-2. Yet this crucial piece of information, that many UFOs were identifiable as classified U.S. aircraft, was not publicly acknowledged until 1992, decades after the events themselves.
That kind of prolonged silence, even if necessary for security at the time, inevitably creates fertile ground for speculation to grow wild.
Definitely. Now, a truly common, yet demonstrably erroneous misconception is the direct link often made between Area 51 and the 1947 Roswell incident.
Roswell, the ground zero of UFO mythology for many.
Exactly. The 1947 Roswell incident, involving the recovery of some unidentified debris near Roswell, New Mexico, became inextricably linked with Area 51 in the public imagination. This was largely driven by the pervasive belief that both sites were somehow involved in a grand government cover-up of extraterrestrial encounters.
But there's a major problem with that connection, isn't there?
What's critically important to remember is the timeline. Area 51 did not even become active until the mid-1950s, specifically 1955. That's almost a decade after the Roswell event in 1947.
Right. So this chronological discrepancy alone really discredits any direct operational link between the two events. Area 51 didn't exist to receive Roswell debris in 47.
Precisely. The timeline just doesn't line up there, does it?
Yeah.
It's a fundamental disconnect often overlooked in the swirling narratives.
So what was the Roswell incident, according to official investigations?
Official investigations have definitively linked the Roswell incident to Project Mogul.
Project Mogul, what was that?
This was a separate, deeply top-secret U.S. Army Air Force's balloon-borne research project. It was developed and operated out of Alamogordo Army Airfield, not Area 51. Its primary design purpose was incredibly sensitive for the time, to detect signs of Soviet nuclear test blasts in the upper atmosphere using microphones on high-altitude balloons.
Trying to listen for Soviet nukes from afar?
Essentially, yes. These high-altitude balloons were equipped with an array of sophisticated sensors and acoustic radar reflectors designed to pick up the very low-frequency sound waves generated by nuclear detonations thousands of miles away. The project was so secret that its true nature wasn't revealed until decades later.
Okay, so how does Project Mogul explain the Roswell debris?
Indeed, the details of Project Mogul provide a comprehensive explanation for the debris found at Roswell. A 1994 NSA report and a subsequent exhaustive 1997 Air Force report confirmed that the recovered debris was entirely consistent with components from a Project Mogul balloon device. What kind of components?
Things like radar-reflecting foil, tough paper tape with symbols on it, balsa wood sticks, and rubber balloon remnants. Crucially, neither report found any mention or evidence whatsoever of alien bodies.
But what about all the stories of alien bodies? Where did those come from?
Claims of alien bodies were meticulously investigated and found to be likely a result of, well, a few things. Distorted memories over many, many years, or a combination of actual incidents involving anthropomorphic test dummies, crash test dummies used in high-altitude parachute research by the Air Force in the 1950s.
Dummies falling from the sky could look strange.
Or, tragically, U.S. Air Force personnel killed or injured in entirely unrelated aircraft accidents in the region that were then somehow conflated with the Roswell incident years later by witnesses or storytellers. Memories get muddled over decades.
Okay, so official explanation. Project Mogul balloon, no aliens. But despite these thorough and repeated official explanations, a significant portion of the American public continues to believe, often passionately, that the government possesses more information about UFOs and extraterrestrial life than it discloses.
That belief is incredibly persistent.
The historical, decades-long secrecy surrounding both the Roswell incident and, of course, Area 51 undoubtedly fueled these unchecked rumors, allowing them to become deeply embedded and almost unshakable in popular culture. It's a classic example of how a vacuum of information is quickly filled by compelling, if unsubstantiated, narratives.
And then we have what's arguably the single most impactful individual in cementing Area 51's alien connection, the Bob Lazar factor.
Bob Lazar. His story really blew up in the late 80s, didn't it?
It really did. In 1989, Robert Bob Lazar burst onto the public scene with truly sensational claims. He alleged he worked at a secret facility near Area 51, which he referred to as S4, claiming it was situated beneath Papoose Lake, south of Groom Lake.
And what did he claim he did there?
He asserted his involvement in a classified U.S. government project focused explicitly on the reverse engineering of recovered extraterrestrial technology, alien spaceships.
His claims were incredibly detailed and wildly imaginative, weren't they? They really captured the public's imagination.
Oh, absolutely. Lazar claimed to have personally viewed alien autopsy photographs and unequivocally asserted that he worked on no fewer than 9 recovered flying saucers stored at S4.
9 flying saucers.
That was his claim. He specifically described one, which he dubbed the sport model, as being manufactured from an exotic metallic substance that he said resembled liquid titanium. But perhaps his most incredible claim was about the propulsion system.
What does he say powered them?
He claimed the propulsion system of these alleged alien craft relied on a stable isotope of the chemical element with atomic number 115, which he referred to simply as E115 or element 115.
Element 115. Was that even a known element then?
That was a critical detail. This element had not even been artificially created in the lab at the time of his claims in 1989, let alone found in a stable form needed for propulsion.
So his claims, despite their compelling narrative, they haven't held up well to scrutiny, have they?
Not at all. They've been extensively and thoroughly debunked by both skeptical investigators and even many mainstream ufologists. He has provided absolutely no verifiable evidence whatsoever of alien life or technology. Nothing concrete.
What about his background? His credentials?
Investigations into his academic background reveal that his claims of master's degrees from prestigious institutions like MIT and Caltech were entirely fabricated. There are no records of him ever attending, let alone graduating from either university.
So he lied about his education. What about his work history?
Furthermore, his employment history was also found to be largely false or exaggerated. While he did work for a period as a technician for a contractor firm at Los Alamos National Laboratory, he was not a physicist working directly for the lab on top-secret projects, as he claimed.
Just a technician for a contractor.
Yes, and the specific contractor he claimed hired him for the Area 51 work, EG&G, explicitly stated they had no records of his employment at all. So major discrepancies there.
Okay, what about the science, element 115?
As for his crucial claim about element 115, the element moscovium, which has atomic number 115, was only successfully synthesized in a laboratory setting in 2003, long after Lazar made his initial claims.
And is it stable, like he claimed?
Critically, no. All known isotopes of moscovium are extremely radioactive with incredibly short half-lives, measured in milliseconds. No stable isotopes of it have ever been synthesized or observed, directly contradicting Lazar's core assertion about its use in a stable form for propulsion. The physics just doesn't work, as he described it, based on current knowledge.
So, despite this overwhelming debunking faked credentials, false employment claims, scientifically impossible element claims, his story still had a huge impact.
Oh, massively. Lazar's sensational claims, propagated initially through late-night talk radio and early internet forums, significantly propelled Area 51 into the public consciousness. They cemented its association with alien conspiracy theories and government cover-ups, proving how a compelling, detailed story can sometimes outweigh factual inaccuracies in the public mind, especially when it taps into existing beliefs.
Fascinating. And a bit scary. Were there other weird theories about Area 51 besides aliens?
Oh, yeah. Beyond the dominant alien narratives, Area 51 has been the subject of a variety of other, sometimes more outlandish conspiracy theories.
Like what?
These include allegations that the base is used for large-scale weather manipulation, controlling storms or droughts, or the development of advanced energy weapons, perhaps even directed energy weapons like lasers or microwave beams, or even exotic, never-before-seen propulsion systems that defy known physics, maybe related to Lazar's claims, but distinct.
Weather control and death rays.
Oh.
Any other colorful ones?
One particularly colorful and enduring rumor suggests that the infamous 1947 Roswell crash was, in fact, not an alien spacecraft, but rather a secret Soviet aircraft.
Soviet plane. Why would that crash in New Mexico?
And even more bizarrely, the theory goes that this Soviet aircraft was piloted by mutated little people who were actually surgically or genetically altered children, maybe created by Yusuf Mengele after WWII, sent by Stalin to cause panic in the U.S., and, of course, the wreckage and maybe even the pilots ended up stored at Area 51 later on.
Okay, that's really out there. Soviet mutant pilots. Wow.
It's one of the more elaborate ones, based on a book published some years ago.
And for those who prefer their conspiracies on a truly grander, almost cinematic scale.
Another popular theory, though not exclusively tied to Area 51, posits that the entire 1969 moon landing was completely faked and was actually filmed right here on Earth, perhaps in one of Area 51's vast clandestine hangars using movie sets.
The moon landing hoax. Of course, Area 51 gets pulled into that one, too.
Naturally. What ties all these disparate theories together, though, and is the consistent underlying factor across all Area 51 conspiracy theories, is that decades-long lack of transparency and the deliberate, intense secrecy maintained by the government.
It all comes back to the secrecy.
This intentional, prolonged secrecy effectively created that profound truth vacuum we talked about, an absence of official, verifiable information about the site's actual activities.
And the public, driven by natural human curiosity and a pre-existing fascination with the unknown, especially after the whole 1947 flying saucer craze,
readily rushed to fill this void with speculative, often sensational narratives. And here's where it gets complicated psychologically. When official explanations or partial declassifications eventually emerged.
like the U2 documents in 2013.
Exactly. They were frequently met not with relief or acceptance, but with deep skepticism, especially by those already invested in the conspiracy narratives.
Why is that?
For those already predisposed to believe in a grand government cover-up, these disclosures were often ironically interpreted as further evidence of government deception, just another layer in the elaborate charade, maybe releasing partial truths to hide bigger secrets.
That dynamic perfectly exemplifies the power of confirmation bias, doesn't it?
Precisely. Individuals who already hold a belief in extraterrestrial visitation or overarching government conspiracies are far more likely to accept uncorroborated accounts and sensational claims, like Lazar's, that align with their existing worldview, even when presented with overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
And in this context, the very absence of concrete, publicly available evidence of aliens, that doesn't disprove their beliefs.
Often, no. Instead, it serves to reinforce their conviction that the government is actively and successfully suppressing the truth. The lack of evidence becomes evidence of a cover-up. It's a self-perpetuating cycle, very hard to break.
This interplay highlights a critical lesson about public myths, doesn't it? For these deeply entrenched public myths, factual disclosure alone may not be sufficient to dispel them.
It often isn't. The government's historical need-to-know code, which prioritizes national security by restricting information, inadvertently fostered a public need to believe in alternative, sensational explanations when that information was withheld for so long.
It demonstrates the profound challenge of managing public perception when fundamental trust is eroded by prolonged secrecy. It leads to a situation where official narratives consistently struggle to gain traction against compelling, albeit fictional, alternatives.
It's a powerful testament to the human desire for a narrative, for an explanation, even if it's a fantastical one.
So after all this history and myth-busting, what about Area 51 today? Is it still operational? Still secret?
Yes, definitely. Despite its official acknowledgement in 2013, it remains unequivocally a highly classified and actively operational U.S. Air Force military installation.
Who runs it?
It's administered by Edwards Air Force Base in Southern California, which is a major flight test center itself. And crucially, the U.S. government still does not provide any public information about the specific ongoing research or development conducted inside the facility. It maintains its operational secrecy. The secrets continue.
And the security is still tight.
Oh, its detailed security measures remain as stringent, if not more so, than ever. Public access to Area 51 is, and always has been, strictly prohibited. Its expansive perimeter is clearly marked with prominent warning signs and there's distinctive orange poles, creating a very visible boundary in the vast desert landscape.
What happens if someone tries to cross?
Unauthorized entry is met with serious consequences, including hefty fines, immediate arrest, or, as those chilling signs explicitly warn, deadly force is authorized against trespassers.
They're not kidding around.
They are absolutely not kidding around. That stark warning underscores the uncompromising severity of the security protocols and the vital importance of the activities within.
And the airspace is still restricted.
Absolutely. There's the unwavering enforcement of that strict no-fly zone, officially designated Restricted Area 4808 North, or R4808N. It blankets the entire site and its surrounding airspace. It is absolutely illegal for any civilian aircraft to fly overhead without specific prior authorization.
How do they monitor the area?
The base is equipped with sophisticated, multi-layered surveillance technology. We're talking advanced buried motion sensors that can detect movement over long distances, high-definition cameras, some likely thermal or night vision capable, and cutting-edge radar systems that monitor the skies and the ground.
Those buried sensors. Can they tell what's moving?
These long-range motion detection systems are reportedly designed not just to detect movement, but often to distinguish between human and animal movement, providing critical early warnings to security personnel. And of course, constant patrols of armed guards, often in unmarked white SUVs or pickups, the famous camo dudes, are maintained around the perimeter, actively looking for any intruders day and night.
Okay, so security is intense. What about the people who work there? How do they get in and out? Do they live there?
Ah, good question. No, most don't live there. The hundreds, maybe thousands of employees of Area 51, which include military personnel, Department of Defense civilians, and a host of specialized contractors, don't simply commute by personal car down a public highway.
So how do they commute?
Instead, they are transported daily to these Special Access Program facilities, or SAPFs, via a highly classified fleet of unmarked passenger aircraft known unofficially but widely as Janet Airlines.
Janet Airlines. I've heard of that. It's like a secret airline just for Area 51 workers.
And other secure sites in the Nevada test and training range? Yes. It's an open secret among aviation enthusiasts and locals, but still officially shrouded in mystery.
Where do these flights operate from?
These Janet flights primarily operate from a private, secure, non-public terminal at Harry Reid International Airport, which used to be McCarran International Airport, right there in Las Vegas.
So they fly out of Vegas every day. What do the planes look like?
Yep. The aircraft themselves are generally unmarked, but easily recognizable if you know what to look for. They feature a distinctive white fuselage with a prominent red cheat line running along the windows, no airline name visible.
I mean, how long has this been going on?
The airline commenced operations way back in March 1972, initially utilizing older Douglas DC-6 aircraft before transitioning over the years to a modern fleet, currently consisting mainly of Boeing 737-600s and some smaller twin-engine Beechcraft turboprops for various routes within the range.
And the name Janet, where does that come from?
Janet is simply the radio call sign used by the pilots when talking to air traffic control. While theories abound about what it stands for, popular, probably tongue-in-cheek ones suggest acronyms like just another non-existent terminal or maybe Joint Air Network for employee transportation. The real reason is likely classified or just mundane.
Still, it's a unique, almost cinematic aspect of the base's daily operations, isn't it? A secret commuter airline.
It definitely adds to the mystique.
So while the specific nature of current operations at Area 51 remains, by design, highly classified, what do experts think is going on there now? Any informed guesses?
Well, experts who follow defense programs closely and analyze things like budgets and occasional declassified hints strongly suggest that the site continues to serve as a critical location for the testing and development of cutting-edge military technology. Black projects likely continue.
What kind of technology?
Educated guesses and informed speculation point towards ongoing, pioneering work in areas such as vastly improved stealth technology, maybe counter-stealth too, the development of advanced weapons systems, electronic warfare capabilities.
Jamming, spoofing, that kind of thing.
Exactly, and particularly the next generation of unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs drones. Think highly autonomous, potentially hypersonic, or very stealthy reconnaissance and combat drones. That's a huge area of focus for the military now.
Makes sense. Any other possibilities? More exotic stuff?
Other possibilities could include intensive research into more exotic forms of secure radio communication that are virtually undetectable or unjammable. Maybe directed energy weapons, tactical lasers, or high-power microwave systems. And perhaps even experimental advanced propulsion systems that could revolutionize air travel and defense, though maybe not quite Element 115.
Huh. Probably not. Is there any physical evidence of ongoing work?
Absolutely. And for anyone who's curious, if you ever look at commercially available Google Earth satellite imagery of the facility over time, you'll notice continuous new construction and significant expansions at the site over recent years, new hangars, extended runways, new support facilities. It clearly indicates its active and evolving role in top-secret defense programs. It's a living, growing, clandestine laboratory.
So the strategic value of secrecy at Area 51 has really evolved over time, hasn't it?
It really has. Initially, it was about denying the base's very existence and hiding the groundbreaking projects like the U-2 from the Soviets. Now it seems more about maintaining absolute operational secrecy for the development of advanced terrestrial defense projects that are vital to national security, but whose specific capabilities and vulnerabilities cannot be revealed to potential adversaries.
This leads to an intriguing theory, doesn't it? That the whole alien mythology, though demonstrably untrue based on evidence,
right,
it may have inadvertently served, and perhaps continues to serve, as a highly effective smokescreen for the real classified projects going on there.
It's a fascinating thought. The lingering public fascination with extraterrestrials could actually divert attention, both public and maybe even some foreign intelligence focus, allowing for cutting-edge military technology development to proceed relatively unnoticed by the wider world. Everyone's looking for aliens, not the next-gen drone.
So the public's intense focus on aliens might actually be inadvertently pulling attention away from the actual, potentially more significant terrestrial advancements happening within those fences. That's kind of ironic.
Deeply ironic. The case of Area 51 powerfully demonstrates that government secrecy, even after partial disclosure like in 2013, can continue to be strategically valuable. The enduring alien folklore, while a direct product of past secrecy and those information vacuums, may now function as an unintended yet highly effective veil for ongoing classified defense operations.
It highlights a complex and fascinating interplay between public perception, historical narratives generated by secrecy, and crucial national security objectives.
And this brings us perfectly to Area 51's utterly pervasive influence in pop culture. It's huge.
Oh, yeah. It has totally transcended its origins as a mere military installation to become an undeniable and truly significant part of global popular culture. It's not just a place anymore. It's a symbol.
It has become synonymous with deep-seated government secrecy, vast cover-ups, and that tantalizing, almost irresistible dream of extraterrestrial contact.
It is arguably the most well-known top-secret military base in the world, isn't it? Its name is instantly recognized everywhere and evokes this powerful sense of mystery for people across continents.
Films, perhaps more than any other medium, have prominently featured and really amplified its mystique over the decades.
What are some key examples?
Well, a prime example is the blockbuster Independence Day from 1996. Area 51 played a pivotal, almost central role in the alien invasion storyline, remember? It's where they had the captured alien ship and autopsy room.
Right, that movie was huge and really cemented that image for a generation.
Absolutely. That film, seen by millions globally, significantly contributed to public perception and speculation about the base's hidden secrets. It's even been humorously referred to in animated movies like Disney's Lilo and Stitch, where the aliens refer to Earth itself as Section or Area 51, a clever nod showing its incredibly widespread cultural penetration even into children's media. That indicates just how deeply embedded the name and its connotations are in our collective consciousness.
In TV shows too, right?
Oh, definitely. The base's inherent mystery and popular lore have been extensively incorporated into countless popular television series. Iconic shows like The X-Files.
Mulder and Scully were always trying to get in there.
Exactly. Shows like The X-Files, Doctor Who, even Agents of SHIELD have all leveraged Area 51's enigmatic nature in their narratives. They frequently portray it as a clandestine facility holding hidden alien secrets, advanced weaponry, or dark government conspiracies unknown to the public. It's a go-to trope.
And books, video games.
Beyond visual media, writers have utilized Area 51 as a setting or a crucial plot device in numerous books, exploring everything from thrilling alien encounters to intricate government cover-ups. And yes, it has made frequent appearances in video games, allowing players to actively explore virtual versions of the base, often shooting aliens or guards, further cementing its place in interactive entertainment and global consciousness.
The enduring intrigue surrounding Area 51 has even transformed it into an unconventional, almost pilgrimage-like tourist destination, which is kind of funny for a top-secret base.
It is strange. In Nevada, State Highway 375 has been officially designated the extraterrestrial highway. It's this quirky stretch of road dotted with alien-themed gift shops, roadside diners like the Little Alien, and strange attractions, all designed to draw visitors fascinated by the lore.
The Little Alien in Rachel, Nevada. That place is famous.
Exactly. The nearby tiny town of Rachel, Nevada, with its population barely hitting 100 people, has become a de facto hub for alien conspiracy theorists and curious tourists looking to get as close as legally possible to the base perimeter.
And who could ever forget the viral Storm Area 51 They Can't Stop All of Us Facebook event back in 2019?
Oh my goodness, that was something else. This spontaneous, massive online phenomenon truly epitomized the public's enduring fascination. It garnered millions of going responses from people around the world, even though only a relatively small number, maybe a few thousand, actually showed up near the gates.
Did they try to storm it?
No, thankfully not. It turned into more of a quirky desert festival. But the event even compelled the U.S. Air Force to issue an official public statement, reiterating that Area 51 is a military test range and emphatically warning that trespassers wouldn't find extraterrestrials and would be dealt with severely. It was a bizarre yet telling moment in cultural history where online fantasy met military reality.
The fundamental appeal of Area 51 mythology, as we've seen, often boils down to a simple yet powerful premise. The government won't reveal what's going on there, so it must be something ultra super amazingly secret. Usually aliens.
That's the core logic for many. This consistent and pervasive portrayal across various forms of popular culture has a profound and mutually reinforcing effect. It's a cycle.
How so?
On one hand, it actively perpetuates and amplifies the alien and UFO myths, embedding them so deeply into the collective consciousness of successive generations that they become almost impossible to dislodge, regardless of the facts.
They become part of our shared stories.
Exactly. On the other hand, this powerful cultural presence also serves as an incredibly potent form of public engagement, driving genuine curiosity and maintaining a high level of interest in the topic. This, in turn, directly translates into real-world phenomena like the Storm Area 51 event and the thriving extraterrestrial highway tourism industry.
So pop culture keeps the interest alive.
Yes, and the constant cultural referencing means that even individuals who may not actively believe in the conspiracy theories are fully aware of them and the associated mystique. This makes it extraordinarily challenging to fully dispel the myths, as they are no longer just fringe beliefs, but have become an integral and even celebrated part of a shared cultural narrative. It's just the place with the aliens.
Popular culture, while often taking huge liberties with facts and definitely leaning into the fantastical, plays a significant and often underappreciated role in shaping and maintaining public interest in real-world classified sites.
For Area 51, the entertainment industry has inadvertently become a key player in its mythologizing, transforming it from a secret military base into an iconic cultural touchstone, a global brand almost.
This dynamic suggests that effectively addressing such pervasive public myths requires far more than just factual disclosure, like the CIA releasing documents.
Absolutely. It also necessitates a deep understanding of, and perhaps a skillful navigation through, the powerful influence of cultural narratives and deeply ingrained public perception. You have to engage with the story, not just the facts sometimes.
Okay, so let's try to summarize everything we've covered. Where does this leave us?
So what does this all mean for our understanding of Area 51? Well, bottom line, it is definitively a highly classified U.S. Air Force facility. It was established back in 1955 for the explicit purpose of developing and testing advanced experimental aircraft.
And its distinguished history includes groundbreaking projects like the U-2 spy plane, the record-breaking A-12 and SR-71 Blackbirds, and the pioneering F-117 stealth fighter. Real documented history.
Absolutely. And, importantly, the U.S. government officially acknowledged its existence in 2013, providing historical context through declassified documents that clarifies its true terrestrial purpose, primarily aviation testing.
And yet, despite all these verifiable facts, the allure of the unknown, the mystery, persists with remarkable strength, doesn't it?
It really does.
There is, to be crystal clear, no credible, verifiable evidence, none to support claims of alien spacecraft, extraterrestrial life, or reverse-engineered alien technology being stored or studied at Area 51.
Zero credible evidence has ever been presented, despite decades of claims.
The infamous Roswell incident was definitively linked through multiple investigations to a top-secret Project Mogul balloon. And the sensational claims from figures like Bob Lazar have been thoroughly and consistently debunked by overwhelming evidence regarding his background and the science he claimed.
Correct on all counts. So this raises that important and fascinating question again. Why does the myth endure so strongly, even in the face of facts?
Yeah, why?
Well, as we discussed, the intense secrecy surrounding Area 51, while absolutely necessary for national security during the Cold War, and arguably still today, created that unparalleled information vacuum.
And into this void rushed public imagination, already primed by earlier UFO sightings and cultural fascination.
Exactly. The highly unusual appearance and unprecedented performance of classified aircraft, the U-2s, the Blackbirds, the stealth planes, were genuinely and understandably mistaken for UFOs by an unaware public who had no other explanation.
This dynamic, where necessary secrecy inadvertently fosters the very myths it seeks to avoid, made Area 51 central to UFO lore and kind of continues to do so.
It does.
Here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Area 51's mystique continues today not because of confirmed alien contact, because there isn't any, but precisely because of its deep, pervasive integration into popular culture and our inherent human fascination with the unknown, with secrets.
That's a key driver. And official disclosures, when they eventually come, like the U-2 files, are often perceived by a segment of the public not as revelations, but as further cover-ups. Like, they're only telling us this small part to hide something bigger.
Right. It leads to a self-perpetuating cycle. Secrecy breeds initial speculation. Speculation fuels compelling cultural narratives in movies and TV. And these narratives, in turn, reinforce public distrust in official explanations whenever they're offered.
It's a tough cycle to break. This complex interplay highlights a crucial point. For deeply entrenched public myths, factual disclosure alone, just releasing documents, may not be sufficient to fully dispel them.
The enduring mystique of a secret place, a place where, in the popular imagination, anything could be happening, continues to captivate us, ensuring that Area 51 remains a subject of both serious historical inquiry into groundbreaking aerospace development.
Which is its real story.
And also a compelling, enduring popular legend about aliens and conspiracies. It's a testament to the power of narrative over perhaps less exciting facts.
It really is.
Ultimately, the story of Area 51 shows us how incredibly powerful narrative can be, even in the face of compelling facts. It leaves us with a final thought for you, our listener, to mull over.
What's that?
If the very act of government secrecy, designed for national security, can unintentionally create such a compelling truth vacuum that is readily filled by the human imagination and pop culture, what other known secrets might be hiding in plain sight? Masked not by outright denial anymore, but maybe by our collective fascination with the fantastical and extraordinary, diverting our attention from what's really going on.
That's a provocative question to ponder. What else are we missing because we're focused on the myth?
Exactly. And that wraps up our deep dive into Area 51. We hope this extensive exploration has given you a clearer, more nuanced understanding of this fascinating and legendary location, helping you separate the verified history from the pervasive myths that have surrounded it for decades.
We always encourage you to keep questioning, keep exploring, and remember that critical thinking is absolutely essential in a world brimming with information, and let's face it, a lot of misinformation too.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We'll catch you next time for another journey into being well informed.